They ran a lot of overtime tonight, so I'm just going to get into it. Hello and welcome to Swithbird Suplex Society. I am Swithbird and I am trying to build a society. The March 4th episode of AEW Dynamite started off with something that has happened several times, and yet I'm surprised every time it does. MJF opened the show, putting his title on the line. He went up against Kevin Knight. It was a very good match. Honestly, straight up contender for match of the night. It was quick, it was fast, it was hard hitting, there was a little bit of high flying. And then Kevin Knight's ribs got injured because he took a little bit of a bump, or injured, right? Quotey fingers. And we moved on from there. First and foremost, I love MJF's new Big Hebrew thing. I think it's very funny. I think he's tried to get it over a couple of times in the past, but it's really, there's just something about it. He's got a coat with it on the back now. I don't know if he had that before, but it's very funny to me. And I'm a very big fan. Kevin Knight was just going for pin after pin after pin, and there was just so much going on with him, just trying to run down MJF's energy, and it didn't work. Not really. MJF is very cerebral when he's wrestling, and he doesn't do the most, but the stuff that he does do counts, and that's pretty much what the entire match was. Kevin Knight was throwing bomb after bomb after bomb, and MJF would come back with just a little thing, but that little thing would do big damage. So energy meter for Kevin Knight was falling much faster than MJF's, but it was fine. There was a super clothesline that Kevin Knight did where MJF was on the outside of the ring, and Kevin Knight ran, hit the ropes, came back, went all the way over the top rope, and came down just arm extended and took MJF out, and then we went straight to commercial break. We came back from commercial break to MJF trying to throw Kevin Knight into one of the guardrails, the one right in front of the timekeeper's area, or he was trying to do something, and Kevin Knight dodged, ducked, dipped, dived, and dodged, jumped onto that same guardrail and did a backflip. So it was just he smashed MJF. There was a lot going on the entire match, which is fine. That's not a big deal. It was very, very good. Kevin Knight went to do a UFO splash, and he successfully, for the first, I think that was the first one that he actually completed. He went for like 4 of them, and MJF just kept rolling out of the ring. But finally he hit one, but while he was in the air doing the frog motion and spinning, MJF brought his leg up and he booted Remsburg into the ropes, and Remsburg went upper torso, lower neck first, and so he was... Referees have 5 HP. They're village civilians from D&D. Like, they don't last very long, and it doesn't take a lot to take them out. So there was potentially a 15 count, and MJF, I think, he just used that time to regain some energy, and when Remsburg started to count, it was very slow, and MJF kicked out, and there was a little bit more of a tussle. And then MJF hit the Heat Seeker, and game over, folks. So MJF, still the world champion. Thank goodness. I'm serious when I say 2026 is year of the heel, because we'll get to that later. But second match of the night, we had Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Kid and Connors. There was a huge pre-bell brawl. Say that 5 times fast. Cassidy and Connors were kind of going at it, and Darby and Kid were going at it, and then there was a moment where everybody kind of switched, and Kid had pulled the ring steps over to the announcer area, and he hung Orange Cassidy, like he held him in like a guillotine type of deal, and then planted his feet. He planted Orange's feet on the timekeeper's table, and then Orange punched Kid. Kid fell off the steps, and then suddenly Connors was there, and Connors ran straight up the steps and speared Cassidy through the table in the Timekeeper's area. So Cassidy was out for a hot minute. While that was a thing, Kid and Darby were in the ring. The bell finally rang, and we got this match going. And it wasn't a very long match. I would say once the bell rang, it was probably about 5 minutes. We ended up with Darby and Orange getting the win miraculously, also not miraculously like we knew they were going to, but they got the win. And while they were doing their celebratory thing, David Finlay came out, and a lot of people aren't going to recognize that name. Just hit YouTube and look up David Finlay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. He runs with Connors and Kid a lot. They together are the Dogs, and congratulations, the Dogs are now all elite. All three of them have officially been signed. They're going to be with us for a while. I'm hoping we get Jay White back because I know that there's some animosity there. So Guns and the Dogs can just go ham, man. Like, it'll be great. But that's that. Finlay came out with a shillelagh, beat the crap out of Orange and Darby with it. The Kid and Connors came in and helped, and it was just, they just left them in a little bit of a heap in the middle of the ring, and they moved on. And then we got the photo that they're all elite now. So that was some good stuff. Very happy for it. Then we got a quick backstage promo between Andrade and Bandito because they will be meeting at Revolution, and it's going to be a very good match. Both guys, very strong, very big, tough boys. Both guys can also fly, and the stuff that the two of them are going to be able to do with their backgrounds and stuff is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see it. It was a very short promo, but it promises to be a very big match between the two of them. So we will look forward to that. And then we will move on to the Brawling Birds versus the Inspiration, the debuting Inspiration. And as much as I think that the name The Brawling Birds is still kind of goofy, their entry music absolutely slaps. It's on my liked playlist for my YouTube music. That's just where we are. Unfortunately, it was a squash match. And by that, I mean, it lasted probably 2 minutes. And the Inspiration, they came out, they did their little song and dance. And then when their music ended, they were like, no, run that back. Let's do it again. So the production truck started their music back up. They started doing their song and dance again. And then the Brawling Birds slipped into the ring, started to whoop booty. And then they got the win. And so Sad Panda, I was hoping we could get more from them in their debut match, but hopefully it'll improve as we go week to week. Like, I don't know. We're just gonna have to see what happens, I guess. But you want to talk about squash matches? Up next, we had Hangman versus, I believe, Marty Snow. I had to run it back and listen a couple of times and I'm like 95% certain that Hangman went up against a kid named Marty Snow. And when I say that this was a squash match, it was a 2-move, 12-second squash match. The bell rang, Hangman kicked this kid in the face, he fell down, Hangman ran and got onto the apron, the kid got back up, turned around, buckshot lariat, 1, 2, 3. I counted. It was 12 seconds long, the entire match. Hangman grabbed a mic, started talking smack, and while he was doing that, MJF came out and was like, hey, like, I beat your boy. I'm tired of hearing you talk shit, like, when I'm better than you, I'm better than your friends. Like, get over yourself. You're not winning this title. And then Hangman got jumped by Davis, Fletcher, and Okada. And they beat the tar out of Hangman for a minute. And Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight came running out to save Hangman. And then the Don Callis came out. And the Don Callis family was all standing like on the entry ramp. And Callis was like, I just got out of a meeting and you guys are in another match tonight. Deal with it. Trios titles on the line. I'll tell you who they face later. So that was the whole thing. We hit commercial. We come back from commercial. and we get Mox versus Hechicero. And that was exactly what it sounds like. Mox being the punch you in the face kind of dude, Hechicero being the slap your chest and then fly over the ropes for a man the same way a man half a size would. And it was great. It was really good stuff. This was an eliminator match for the Continental title, and we keep having these, and I don't know why, because nobody's won one yet, except for the Rascals when it came to the tag team eliminator that they had last week. So Hechicero ended up losing. It was good at the near the end. Hechicero got Mox in what looked like it should have been some sort of like seatbelt roll-up pin. If you know, you know. But then Hechicero just started to roll, and he just rolled in a big clockwise circle around the ring, and then put Moxley's shoulders to the mat and got a 1-2-oo. So there was that. Mox ended up with the win. Hechicero does not get a shot at the Continental title. And this whole thing between the Don Callis family and the Death Riders is a lot, but it's fun. And it's building the Death Riders up again. And we're just putting the Death Riders back on the map from all the shenanigans that have happened over the last few months. I still think that Mox is at some point going to get jumped and taken out of the Death Riders like Daniel Bryan had been. Bryan Danielson. Sorry. I went back in time. I'm very tired. So we'll see what happens there. We did get a promo from the Death Riders later on. Danny Garcia was like, this is what happens when you keep messing with us. Like, you guys suck. We're the best. Wheeler Yuta came up. He was wearing a hood. He took his hood off, and he was like, I'm bald. They're not giving me shit for it. They're my family. I feel great with these guys around. Marina Shafir rolled into camera view next, or direct camera view, and was just like, Tony Storm, what's up? Let's go. You want to fight? I'll give you a fight. And then she called... Marina Shafir called Tony Storm this, and then that was that. So Mox came on last, and he was like, yeah, Don Callis family sucks. I don't know why we're still doing this. Like, we've proven that we're better than them. We've proven that we're the best team. There's no reason for this to continue, essentially. And then we moved on from that. I'm sorry. So that was later on. So let's go back in time. So after Mox and Hechicero, Brody King came out and was like, I am the most dangerous guy. Like, I am awesome. I'm going to get another shot at Max and take that title. And then Prince Nana came out and just hit the whole audience with this weird laugh several times. And he was like, you're not the baddest. Let me introduce the baddest. Here's Swerve. And Swerve's music hit, and Nana just stood at the top of the entry ramp, like looking into the heel tunnel, and was just like, come on, come on, come on. And Brody King was standing in the ring, like waiting and like prepping, and then Swerve popped up behind him and hit him in the back of the head with a fistful of chain, and then kind of hit him a couple more times. and Swerve wrapped the chain around his throat and hung it over the ropes. And I mean, legitimately, really, it looked like he was hanging Brody, just the way that everything was like wrapped and strung over the ropes. Brody's face turned like a weird crimson red for a hot minute while Swerve had Nana hold a mic in his face so he could hold the chain. And now we're going to get Swerve versus Brody at Revolution. So we'll find out who's the baddest. I don't think it's a no disqualification match. I think it's just labeled as a straight wrestling match, but we'll see what happens. We've got 10 days until the pay-per-view. So buckle up, buckaroos, because this pay-per-view is looking banging. That's when we got the Death Rider promo. And after that Death Rider promo, we got Tekla versus Rosa for the women's title. And there's something about Rosa that just doesn't click with me. I understand she's a huge fan favorite. She's come back from a couple of really bad injuries that's kept her out for a long time. But there's just something about this match that didn't quite click with me. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. I would have to go back and watch it again. It was fine. It kept enough of my attention that, I took a couple little notes as far as the Tekla was just doing her Tekla thing and did the tarantula hold over the ropes and did the upside down backwards like hand and foot walk to like be all creepy. Rosa used a fan at one point to climb up onto the guardrail to do a crossbody onto Tekla on the outside. There were fun little spots, and Tekla came out on top. And when the bell rang, the Sisters of Sin came down and they stood at the edge of the ring, and they were congratulating Tekla from Tekla's in the ring, the Sisters of Sin are outside the ring. And then Statlander pops up in a strange, like, shirt outfit thing. And I don't understand what her fashion sense has been lately. That's not clicking with me either. So that was just a whole thing. Statlander ended up taking out a bunch of the security detail that came running out to make sure that everybody, like, stayed separate. After she got the chance, Stat got in the ring, Tekla jumped out of the ring, and then Stat and Rosa just kind of like huddled together in the middle, and they were just like, okay, everything's fine. We're going to be great. We're going to move on. Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And Tekla was Tekla on the ramp, and congratulations, Tekla. 2026, year of the heel. Let's keep it going. We got another promo right after that, which was Jack Perry and Ricochet and their whole feud that they've been having, as far as like Ricochet not defending the national title by himself like a man, and Jack Perry getting 3 pins on Ricochet in other sorts of matches. So that's going to continue to be a B story for a lot of things. I would really like to see the two of them go at it one-on-one, because it's my guy versus my girl's guy, and we can put money on it, and it'll be great. And hopefully at the end of the day, Ricochet walks away with the win clean so that we can move on. But if Jack wins it, I wouldn't be mad at that either, because at least Jack is very much like gung-ho. If he has the title, he'll put it up more often, and we'll get to see it more, which would be fine with me. But right now, because Jack is still like a thorn in Ricochet's side, that's just a whole thing. So we'll see what happens with that. Ciampa did a promo out by the ring with Renee, and FTR came out, and Dax was like, hey, friend, we'd like you to join us and take over this company. That would be super cool. Please and thank you. And Ciampa was like, I didn't like you 10 years ago. I don't like you now. Why are you bothering me with this? So go away and take your little gremlin in the wheelchair with you. Like, What are you? I don't care. None of this. This is all crap. And so apparently now we might get like Dax versus Ciampa at Revolution. I'm assuming during the pre-show. I don't know. We're just gonna have to figure that out. Then we got to the main event, which was Jet Set Rodeo versus, ready for this, Okada, Fletcher, and Davis. So it was Proto Okada, but it was also Aussie Open. So it was Okada Open? I don't know, man. I'm doing my best here. It's late. Bless you. Bless you. It started off really good. Really good back and forth for the first couple minutes. Knight was useless. Bailey was doing fine. And then they tagged in Paige, and Paige ran wild and took out all 3 members of the Don Callis family all on his own. And that was crazy and fun. And we got a whole lot of stuff all real fast. And like I said, they went 20 minutes overtime tonight. So, woof. There was a spot where Jet Set Rodeo was individually one at a time doing like leaps over the top rope to take out somebody on the outside. And Knight went to go do it to Fletcher, and Fletcher quickly hopped up on the apron and grabbed Knight while he was on he was crouched on the top rope, like ready to spring. And then Fletcher yanked him off the top and drove him into the guardrail. That was a very interesting spot. I'm kind of glad that they got that handled well enough that no one got injured. It got real dicey there right at the beginning of the spot, so I'm glad that that was fine. Here's the thing. MJF came out, and MJF took Adam Page off the apron when he was going for a buckshot lariat and smashed him right in the face with the right hand with the Dynamite Diamond ring on his finger, and Jet Set Rodeo lost. So not only did we get the return of Aussie Open, the Don Callis family finally got like a good win with everything that's been going on, and now Kyle Fletcher is the TNT champion and a trios champion. Okada is a champion and also a trios champion. And now Mark Davis has a trios champion. I'm betting that Don Callis goes and talks to Tony Khan and gets some kind of stipulation saying that any combination of people in the Don Callis family can be part of the trio team that goes up against whoever during trios titles matches. I have a feeling that's going to be a thing, so that guys can in his family can like have the night off and they can just throw like Rocky Romero or like Trent Beretta in there, and they'll stack it just well enough that they'll probably end up keeping the trios titles until like summer fully kicks in this year, and we'll just go from there. So that was very interesting. I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm excited to see where we go with the Jack Perry and Ricochet connection. I'm curious who Tekla is going to take on next for the title, and I cannot wait for Revolution. So down in the comments, put your predictions for Revolution. We'll do this over the next couple videos till Revolution actually happens, and we're gonna have so much fun this year. So until Saturday, I hope you guys have a good week. Don't let it get you down. I hope that you can use these videos as slight escapism from all the craziness that's going on in the world at the moment. So do something for you this week. Do one little thing every day for you this week. And be safe. I will see you Saturday. Peace.